Hello there. So you've got an e-ink device, and now you're thinking, how do I back up my files? How do I make sure that if something happens to the device, that I'm going to be able to get to all the notes and the other PDFs and types of files that I've loaded onto this device? And there's a number of ways you can do that. The companies themselves, whether it be books, or BigMe or Mobiscribe or even others that don't have the Google Play Store, usually have cloud solutions that allow you to back up your files onto their servers. So that's a good solution, and it's convenient because it's integrated into the device. But maybe you have some concerns about that. Maybe you feel that you have some sensitive information that you don't want to put out on the cloud. So where do you go? Well, there are other options, of course. I mean, you can connect your device to your computer, and you could easily drag files between the device and the computer. That's not hard, but it is a heavily manual process to do that, and you really want to put up with that type of a hassle. Another option, could potentially be using storage solutions such as OneDrive or Google Drive. But again, there is still that difficulty in making sure that the drive is backing up the files you need and all sorts of things related to that. But what if I told you that there's a way that you can create a wireless solution that goes from a device to a computer on your Wi-Fi network without having to involve the cloud? Well, that solution would be Syncthing. And so in this video, I'm going to walk you through the setup process, which is probably the most difficult process as it relates to Syncthing. So we're going to actually walk through that, show you how that works, maybe some of the pitfalls related to that. But once you have that set up, it is a pretty amazing application, and it's definitely worth considering if you have any of those concerns that I've just outlined. So let's go ahead and take a look. And I should point out that in addition to this, I'll be putting in the link an article from PC World that goes into a little bit more detail than I'm going to go through here that you may want to reference if you're interested in setting up Syncthing. And a lot of the work that I've done here is a product of both reading that article as well as trial and error. So you have that option available to you. But I do hope in this video, going through the demonstration and walking through the process will help kind of show you how it works and to help you get in running on this pretty cool product as quickly as possible. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so our journey starts here, and this is a website called syncthing.net, and you can see the URL up here. And basically you go to this area that's called downloads, you click on that, and then you go down and you see what's called base Syncthing. And you're going to pick your computer. We're starting with the computer in this case. And I have a 64-bit system on Windows, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that. It's going to download that fairly quickly. And then I'm going to go ahead and open that file. We're going to go ahead and double-click on this folder that we just downloaded. And then you'll notice there's this application called Syncthing. So what we're going to do is we're going to double-click on that. And we're going to find that we're in a zipped folder and that we need to extract it. And there that is. I'm going to go ahead and extract all. And in my case, I'm going to go ahead and put it on the root D drive. Okay, it's going to create this folder right here. We're going to go ahead and double click on that. And now we see our application right here. Now I can go ahead and double click on this and it'll start the application, but I want to create a shortcut on my desktop going forward. So I'm going to go ahead and right click on this. I'm going to copy as path. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and minimize that. Get to my desktop like so. I'm going to right click on the desktop. I'm going to go new shortcut. And this is where I'm just going to simply copy that path that I just saved. And we'll go ahead and label it. I like to have capital letters on my first name, so there we go. And we'll finish that. And now I've got a shortcut. Now I'm going to go ahead and double click on this application to run it. I should point out a few things. First off, when I initially downloaded it, I went ahead and had Norton scan it just to validate there were no threats, and there weren't. And of course I've run this a number of times without any issues as far as I'm aware. So it seems like it's safe. So I'm going to go ahead and execute it. what you'll notice is a DOS window will come up. You don't touch that window. You don't need to do anything with that window. You just leave it alone. And when that DOS window is complete, it'll open up a tab on your web browser, whatever your default web browser is. And that's where you work with the program. So let's go ahead and do that and see what that looks like. So I'm double clicking on the Syncthing shortcut, and you'll come up with Windows protected your PC. So you have an option either not to run it, or if you click on more information, you say run anyway, and that's what I'm going to choose to do. Okay, so this is actually what you're going to see. You're going to see something when you first launch it where there are no folders and there's no remote devices. So we're going to go ahead and set those up. So our next step in the process is we're going to go to the device. In this case, that'll be the Books Note Air 3C, and we'll go ahead and set up Syncthings there. And then we're going to go back and forth between that device and here in order to set up our sync functionality. So let's move over now to the 3C device. Okay, so now we're over with our device, in this case, the Books Note Air 3C, and we're going to want to go ahead and download Syncthings. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the Play Store right there. And I've already done a search on it, so I'm going to go ahead and look at my history, and here it is. We'll go ahead and install that. So it's going to be a fairly quick installation. It's not a very large file. Go ahead and let that install. Okay, let's go ahead and open it. All right, now we've got some introductory screens. We can go through those fairly quickly. I'm going to go ahead and allow it to the location permission. Okay, I'm going to say turn off for Syncthing, this battery optimization. And I'll actually talk a little bit about that in the conclusion as it relates to how I'm using it. But we're going to go ahead and just do that for now. Okay, and let app always run in the background. I'm going to deny that. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to control when Syncthing is working. Okay, so now we have it successfully installed on the 3C. So we've got a few more steps we need to do. And the first step is to be able to connect the device from this to the PC that we just set up. So let's go ahead and click on that. And so it says no devices found. I'm actually going to move to the PC now for the next step in the process. Okay, so here we are back to the same screen that we left on the PC. I'm going to go ahead and click on Add Remote Device. And here you already see the name of another device on the network. And this is the device that we just added. And I'm blurring it out just for security reasons, but there's a long URL here. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then click Save. We're going to have to go back to the 3C device. Okay, we're back on the 3C device, and you'll notice there's some notifications up here. Let's go ahead and swipe down. One is the keyboard, which I have set up, but then there's another one saying that my computer wants to connect. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And we're just going to go ahead and add. You don't have to change anything. And now we're connected between this device and the computer. Let's go take a look and see what that looks like on the computer. All right, we just came back here to show that we now have a remote device, and they went ahead and labeled it the Note Air 3C. Not quite sure why it has this kind of sad face there, but nevertheless, we have a nice green connected device, and now these two devices are connected with each other. The next step in the process is then going to be adding folders, and this is also what I think is a little bit better to do from the Eink device, the 3C device first, and then connecting here. So let's go ahead and head on back to the 3C. All right, so we return back to the 3C, and now we're going to go ahead and set up some folders. I'm actually going to set up 3 folders in particular. The first folder we're going to set up is going to be designed to take the notes from this device and to back them up on the PC. So we're only concerned with sending from this device to the PC. That's the first one. The second one is we're going to have a way of putting documents on the PC and sending them to this device. So this device will receive it. So one folder that sends, one folder that receives. And just for completeness, we're going to go ahead and add a third folder, and that's going to be a folder shared between both devices that will always be in sync. So whatever's in one folder on this device is the same that's on the other folder. So if I add a file on this one, it'll be added to the PC. If I delete a file on this one, it will delete it on the PC. So that's the idea of the sync folder. So let's go ahead and add those folders. We'll start with the first one. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and name it. I'm going to name this 3C Notes Backup, like so. I'm also going to connect it to the Corsair one. I'm going to click on the directory, and I have to pick which folder that I want to add to this, and it's going to be the Notes folder. So let's go ahead and find that, the Note folder rather. Perfect. I'm going to say use this folder, which is, I can't see it, but it's down below, so use this folder. And I'm going to allow. And then finally, I'm going to have it only send, like so. And I'm going to go ahead and create that folder. Okay, let's head back to the PC and see what we see there. Okay, we're back on the PC, and you'll notice that this folder has now come up. We're going to go ahead and add that in. And only a couple things that we need to do here. The first thing is the folder label is perfectly fine. We're going to keep it like that. I'm going to make sure that the backup is correct. Now I should point out that I created 3 blank folders on my PC. And the first one is called 3C Notes Backup. So that is a folder that I've already created. So let me go ahead, and it's empty. I'm going to go ahead and save it. And now I've got my notes syncing to that folder. Let's see if we can take a look at that. Okay, here is the backup. So each folder is basically a notes document that I converted to a PDF. And we're going to show that setting in a little bit. But the point being is this folder was originally empty, and now that I've linked it, it now basically reflects all the backup of my notebooks. So it's already working, but we've got a little bit more work to do. So let's go ahead and head back to the 3C device. All right, so let's go ahead and add another folder, like so. We're going to name this one 3C Receive. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and in the directory, we'll go ahead and have that point to our Documents folder in this case. I'll go ahead and use that folder. I'll allow it. And then we'll go ahead and connect it to the Corsair one as before. And we're going to go ahead and we only want to receive in this folder. So let's go ahead and finish in creating it. Okay, we've got it here. Let's head back to the PC. Okay, we're back on the PC. And once again, we have this dialog box that's popped up. And we want to go ahead and add this folder. I'm going to change it on this side to say 3C Send. And we're going to change the file path because I put this folder right onto the root drive. So again, this is the name of a folder that I've already created. I'm going to go ahead and save it. I do want to point out that when you're setting up these folders, you really want to make sure that they're empty when you start, because if you do run into any issues at the end, you have to resolve them, that may result in deleting the content of each folder. So it's really best to start with empty folders. But we're good here. Let's head back to the 3C for our last folder. Okay, we're going to do our last folder. We'll go ahead and click on this. Again, we're going to call this 3C Sync, like so, and go into the directory. And I don't have a folder, so I'm going to go ahead that I want to sync to. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new folder, like so. And we're just going to call this sync. All right, and click OK. And we'll go ahead and use that folder. Allow. All right, and here we're going to connect again to the Corsair, the computer, and it's okay to send and receive. We want this one to be balanced between the PC and the 3C. So we'll just go ahead and create it. Now we've got all our folders. Awesome, let's zip on back to the PC. Okay, and as we expect, we've got this dialog box up above. We just want to go ahead and add this folder in. We want to call it 3C Sync. Again, I have that right on the root drive. The point of having this on the root drive, by the way, is just to make this process simple. I don't have to type out a long path and what have you. But it doesn't have to be like this. It's just something that I did for the sake of simplicity. And I don't have to change any of the sharing, so I'm going to go ahead and save it. And there we go. So now we've got all of our 3 folders set up. Now I actually remembered what went wrong with the 3C send. I'm going to go ahead and click on this. I'm going to go ahead and edit it, because what I should have done is under advanced, I should have said that we want to send only. We'll save that. Okay, so you'll notice how now that I said this is send only, it's got this platform with an arrow going up, and the 3C sync is as a folder. So this is telling us that this both send and receives. This arrow is saying it sends, and actually I didn't set this one up here to only receive. So let's go ahead and click on that, and click on edit, go to advanced, and say receive only, and then save that. Okay, we've got our Note Air 3C connected. We've got our folders all set up. This one is receiving only, this one's sending only, and this one is syncing. Let's go ahead and test out the functionality. Okay, so to test out the functionality, we're going to go ahead and to drag some files in here. We've already noted that the 3C Notes backup has already backed up some of our notebooks. So we're pretty good with that. In fact, let's go ahead and open one of these up just to take a look at that. Here we go. So here's a note that I created. And there's not much here, but it's perfectly backed up into a PDF format. So that's perfect. All right. Let's go ahead then and see if the 3C send and 3C sync is working. If I put files in both of these folders, it should send it over to the 3C. So I'm going to go ahead and take this color palettes file and put it into the send folder. Okay, so now the color palettes is there. And let's go ahead and put this annual report from Eink and put that into the sync file. Like so. That is there. Oh, along with color palettes. That's there as well. All right, let's see what happens. Okay, we're back to the device, and let's go ahead and check and see if our syncing worked. So I'm going to go ahead and go into storage here. I'm going to go ahead and click on this box here, which goes into the file structure. And we'll start off with documents. And remember, we only moved over the one document, which is color palettes, so that's perfect. Let's look at the sync folder where we expect 2 documents to have been placed there. And yes, we have both the color palettes as well as the annual report for Eink. So Syncthing worked perfectly. Now that I've synced the files, I'm just going to go ahead and close it. And what I'm going to do in order to do that is I'm just going to swipe. This brings up my open application tray. I'm going to go ahead and close everything. and now Syncthing isn't working anymore. And if I want it to work again, I'll go back into Apps and then execute the application when I want it. I'll do the same thing on the computer. I'll go ahead and close the user interface in the web browser. I'll also close the DOS box, and when I'm ready to use it, I'll go ahead and double click on the application shortcut I had in the desktop, and then I can sync on demand that way. Okay, so let's have some closing thoughts here. First off, I think that you can see the theme that you can sense during the video is that my thought process for Syncthing was to run it on demand. So when I wanted to go ahead and swap files, I would launch the application both on the device and on the computer. And the reason why I was kind of with that mindset was that I was a little concerned about the battery drain on the 3C, but also on the computer, I tend to be someone that I don't like to have too many applications or tabs open at a particular point in time. I kind of like a clean, neat desk, as it were. And so for those reasons, my mentality was run the application on both systems when I want to exchange files and then shut the applications down. But that's not necessary. And we'll talk about battery drain first. So with the 3C, I did record what the battery drain was with the device on, with Syncthing running in the background and Wi-Fi on, but nothing else going on. And that battery drain was negligible relative to what I would expect with just Wi-Fi on anyway. So I really actually didn't see any degradation of battery life as a result of running Syncthing. So you can actually just have Syncthing run on your device and not worry about that impact. So that's one consideration. In terms of the computer, there is actually some integrations that are available, and those are also available on syncthing.net, where one in particular where it can actually automatically run Syncthing when you're booting up your computer, put it into the system tray, so kind of that clutter effect that I was talking about is a non-issue. I have not played with that, but just know that's available. And so what I'm suggesting here is that you can leave these things on and your files will sync automatically without thinking about it. And that's pretty cool. And I think that's what a lot of people might be interested in having set up. Another thing I want to point out is that one of the essential steps that you'll want to take is you're going to want to go into your Books device and you're going to want to go into certain settings within Notes. I'm going to show the video of that now. And there's a particular setting that you can select that every time you go out of a note, it will turn that note into a PDF. And so let's say, for example, that you set up a note, you go out, it saves as a PDF, you come back in, you do some more writing, and you come out of that note. It will then overwrite that PDF. So you're always going to have one PDF file for one notebook in your device. And so the reason why I'm mentioning that is there's two things that are important about that. The first is you're not going to have like a big bunch of PDFs that take up all of your space as a result of clicking on that setting. So that's nice. But the second thing is because you're converting these to PDFs, when you're syncing that onto your computer, you now have notes files that you can read with any type of PDF viewer, whether it's a specialized software or your web browser. So your notes are now not only backed up, but they're available for viewing without having to use your device. So that's an essential step if you're looking to back up your notes. Okay, well that basically is everything I have to say about Syncthing at this time. There's a lot more functionality here for those that are brave and want to start digging into that. I'm probably going to stick with the basic functionality. I'm very happy with it. I think this is an amazing product, which I hope to use for a long time. I want to close with a shout out for YouTube user Instance3954. That's the person that highlighted Syncthing to me. I'd never heard of it until this person told me about it. And very appreciative of bringing it up because it allowed me to create this video and share it with our wider audience. And this is just the type of thing that I love to share because I think we can all be better off with something like this. So I hope you enjoy it and find this useful. Until next time, I'll see you then.